these things. But anyway, let's trickle it down to this month. You know, the month has almost come to an end, and it would be very bad for us if we don't conclude it with a conversation on men's mental health.
Thank you.
You know,
finally. Right?
You know, no, it's not about finally. I like the fact that you both are saying finally, because if you're saying finally, that means you're concerned. But society is not really concerned about the man's mental health.
Yeah.
Because of a stereotype. So you
and who started the stereotypes?
So we have proverbs like,
what's that?
To wait if a gun discharges, it's a man's chest that has to take it.
Right.
The man jumps in front of it, literally.
Literally to take the gun. But a man should not cry.
A man should not cry.
A man is the one that takes the bitter medicine.
Right.
So if a man loses his dad, or a young man loses his dad, and in the funeral and he's trying to shed a tear, we are like, he's weak.
So I like what you're saying, but as a psychiatrist, can you give us some of the impact that all this emotional load that men carry, well, everybody carries it, but since we're talking about men, that men carry can actually cause, apart from the imploding, can you give us some of them?
Men die by suicide more than women.
Yeah, someone just died 2 days ago.
Men will use lethal means because men have been told to bottle it down. So women have more suicidal ideations, but men die. Men go through with it more.
All right, okay, so women have more of the thoughts?
Yes.
But men go through.
If a man has it, the chances of he going through with it, planning and going through with it is high. Wow. So most men die by suicide. I think the ratio is about 2.5:1.
Okay.
2, most men are depressed, but we underreport depression.
Because they got to be strong.
Yeah.
Yes, and a man's depression may present in an atypical form where he's irritable, he's very angry all the time, he's sleepy most of the time, he has a poor concentration. You are talking to him, he looks like he's not
listening.
He's not listening to you. He's displacing. If they are kids, he comes home and everybody is beating everybody for the slightest thing. And most men are depressed. Most men are anxious. Most men are going through anxiety. Most men are living in fear because they are afraid of when the next meal is going to come, when is the next school fees. But he has to chin up and walk through it and go to work. But thank God that now we are having the spaces where we had a conversation recently and on spaces, and people really came out. Normally when I do some of these things with men, I do anonymous, so we sit and everybody writes. Yeah. And we pick it and we answer. I realize that men have issues that they really want to talk about, but sometimes they are afraid to raise their hands in public to share. But whilst they can do the anonymous one, they are okay and they are comfortable. So we encourage more boys. When you meet, aside talking about Chelsea, which is not doing so well, talk about ask twice. We say ask twice. If I ask you how you are doing, you say you are fine. Say,
how are you?
Yeah, how are you?
Men should be okay to tell one another, Charlie, bro, I know they do well. It's not going well for me.
Okay, let me ask, how can we as a community or as a society intervene to make things better? Because as you said, men are going through a lot. So we need some community intervention. How can we do that?
As a counselor, let me go from the tangent of married people. I keep saying that wife should not be another battle that a man has to fight. It's very important. I see sometimes women don't understand what men need in marriage. Unfortunately, this stereotype of thinking that what gets the man is the food and sex actually is not. By a mile. See, if a guy wants sex, he can get it for free or pay for it. So the wife in the house is not the reason he's getting married. If the man wants food, he knows where to buy them. Maybe even better than what you cook at home. If a man wants to clean, the mother taught him he can do it.
Not all.
Or, hold on. Or he can get someone to get it done.
And pay.
If a woman thinks that I clean, I sleep with him, I cook for him, and that's the role you play in his life, then you have no idea why you are there. There are things that a roommate cannot give the man. The nurturing, the unwavering support, very verbalized. These are things a roommate will not give you, unfortunately. And unfortunately, a lot of our wives, a lot of the women have actually become another battle the guy has to fight constantly. What a guy needs is someone to be his peace. A lot of the stresses that men have to deal with are some of these realities. See, life beats you out there. When you come home, what you need is someone who can be able to take away that negative energy and put something better in you. Unfortunately, it's a different story. So now you ask how to handle, and I come from the tangent of marriage. The intervention the community can do is that our wives, our sisters, our mothers should understand what men has to face and the reality they have to deal with daily and offer the support. How many women easily can walk to their husbands and really sit the guy down and tell them that unwavering energy of support, that, hey, I believe in you, I love you, I know things are tough now, but the reason I married you is because I know you can do it. Few people do it, if any. And these are some of the things that we need in our communities.
Let me touch on what he said in the end, that we need our wives, our mothers, our sisters. And when we are vulnerable, when men are afraid to be vulnerable.
Yep.
Because most people interpret being vulnerable as being weak.
Yeah.
Even your own sisters, even your mom, sometimes your own wife. So sometimes in order for us not to appear weak, we will pretend as if all is well. And sometimes they say men are bad listeners. But sometimes all a man wants is, when he tells you that the job is bad and everything, he's not asking you for a solution. He also just wants you to listen because he has the solution in his mind.
And sometimes leave him alone.
Yes, because sometimes he just wants to rant.
Yep.
The same way sometimes women say that men are bad listeners, like we just want you to listen. We are created the same. Just that most men are afraid to say that we need people to listen. But most men sometimes just want to, Charlie, the business is not going on. He has actually called his friends and he has asked for a loan. He knows. That's not when he say, so when are you going to go for a loan? So what do you think I do? I think I know this person. I want to call this person. They don't need you to call anybody. They actually need you to say, how can I be of help? And you tell them, babe, can you do that fried rice that you do? I really, really need that thing to calm me down. Sometimes men also need women to listen.
Yeah. I think it's actually very interesting how we're talking about this thing. But I also feel like all these that we're talking about today is toxic masculinity. And toxic masculinity mostly comes from society. And the society we live in is a society that they say is a man's world. So it's a man that actually, and I'm sure you all have friends that tell you, don't cry.
Oh, me, you can't tell me.
Yeah, don't do this, don't do that. So it's all about, even having positive people around you as a man. You understand? Because I think this whole boys things really fuels some of these issues that we talk about.
Oh, yeah. He spoke about some levels of stereotyping we've seen in our communities. That's how we're made. That's how we're, developed over the years. A man thinks when he sleeps with a woman and really hits her hard, and the woman is screaming, yeah, I'm the man.
Yeah.
I mean, what defines that in you as a man? Even animals do same. So if that is what makes you a man, then you don't even understand the context of your makeup. And this is why it's important that we are having this conversation. Let me just add a note to that. The education matters.
Yes.
Today, we're beginning gradually to have the conversation. Maybe the spotlight is not on it. The whole month of June is dedicated to that. But a lot of the conversations that have gone on doesn't focus and highlight. But it's even good that sometimes those conversations could still come up. And it starts, the levels of awareness that should be able to go out there for.
Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been great having you talking about mental health, as well as highlighting that June is Mental Health Awareness Month for men. My men out there, if you want to cry, cry. If you want to scream, scream. Sometimes these things actually help. You may never know how much good it's going to do to you. Let it all out.
Yeah.
And feel good.
Yeah. And remember that do not use drugs. Like, drugs are dangerous for you, and they will kill you. So please stay away from drugs and take care of yourselves, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking to Reverend Bernie Oseidua, who's a counselor and a coach, and Reverend Dr. Joseph Kofi Ido, who's a specialist psychiatrist. Thank you so much for coming here and having this conversation with us. All right, so it's time for us to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more.